John Carpenter's Halloween pretty much invented the slasher genre with a silent killer stalking teenagers, but is it actually still scary? Well, to do that, we must dive into the bizarre behind-the-scenes facts and John Carpenter's craftsmanship that created this film. Before Halloween, John Carpenter was pretty much a no-name director, although he had gained some recognition for his film Assault on Precinct 13. The studio wouldn't give him a lot of money, so Carpenter set out to make a low-budget film about a killer with a white mask. Not only did Carpenter direct the film, but he also co-wrote and, like Assault on Precinct 13, composed the music. In fact, this wouldn't be the last film where Carpenter created the score, as he would make the score for every one of his films following this one. Before Donald Pleasence delivered his unforgettable role as Dr. Samuel Loomis, Christopher Lee was tapped for the role, and of course Jamie Lee Curtis was set to play Laurie Strode at her first acting role. The iconic Michael Myers mask was slimmed down to two options, a clown mask or an alternate Captain Kirk mask. They eventually went with the alternate Captain Kirk mask, except they enlarged the eye holes and dyed the hair brown, although the clown mask can be seen in the movie in the opening scene where young Michael kills his sister, Judith. With a chaotic film like this one, there's no doubt that the production would be chaotic too. The film was given a tight budget of only $300,000, which was considered low at the time. It was also given a filming schedule of only 4 weeks, which of course angered John Carpenter and his team. After young Michael Myers had killed his sister Judith back in 1963, we then get a time jump forward to 1978, where Dr. Samuel Loomis, played by Donald Pleasence of course, and a nurse are driving to Smith's Grove, where he is being kept to transport him to someplace else. Of course, Michael escapes, steals the car, and then starts driving towards Haddonfield, where the film takes place. One day later on Halloween, we see Laurie Strode, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, walking around in the beautiful little town of Haddonfield, where we find out that she is going to be babysitting tonight. This alludes to the original title of the film, The Babysitter Murderer, which of course was eventually changed to Halloween. Since her dad's a real estate agent, Laurie has to drop off a key at the Myers house since they're selling the house pretty soon. But this doesn't sit very well with Michael, because for the rest of the movie, he begins to stalk Laurie, as if it's her fault. It's cool, because this kind of acts out like a Japanese ghost story. Once you've been cursed, you can't escape. We then meet Laurie's obnoxious friend, Annie. It's apparent in this film that Carpenter was sort of going for an only good girls survive kind of vibe, and I know that sounds so corny when I say it out loud, but it's just the subtext. But Annie's sassiness doesn't really matter because she's strangled to death by Michael. While all this is happening, Samuel Loomis has teamed up with police officer Brackett to try and kill Michael before he kills any more people. But Michael isn't finished just there. He finds another pair of Laurie's friends, Linda and Bob. He kills Bob first by pinning him to the wall with a knife. Pretty sick, Michael. Then Michael examines the body very peacefully. You are an idiot! Then Michael lays off some salt and puts on some sheets to pretend like he's a ghost. Linda, being the idiot that she is, thinks that this is just Bob playing a prank on her. And of course she gets killed for her troubles. Then for some reason, Laurie goes into Annie's house to see what's up, and this part is probably where the stupid horror movie character fad comes from. After seeing Linda, Bob, and Annie's bodies all in the same room, you know what Laurie does? She crouches herself against a wall and begins to cry. Like, get the hell out of there, lady! But Michael wastes no time and stabs Laurie as she falls down the stairwell. Then Laurie runs away and locks the door behind her, but of course Michael is able to get out of this and manages to open the door. But since Laurie is so very resourceful, she is able to get away from Michael and then run back into that house where she was babysitting without being stabbed again. Seriously, Michael, you need to get down to business and stop just stabbing people in the arm. It doesn't work! Once Laurie finally does manage to get back inside the house, she tells the boy she's babysitting, Tommy, to run upstairs and lock the doors as our pal Michael could enter the house again. In fact, he does, but Laurie, being the resourceful person that she is, manages to stab him with some sort of pin from a yarn ball. Again, Laurie makes an oblivious decision when she literally has the knife in her hand and she could finish off Michael right there, but she decides to drop it and then rush back upstairs. Back outside, Loomis and Brackett are still trying to find Michael, but Loomis gets his big hint when the kids rush out of the house and he figures that Michael is in there with Laurie. You know how I mentioned earlier how Laurie stabbed Michael in the neck with some sort of pin? Well, Michael's back and ready to stalk again. Then Laurie makes one of the dumbest decisions in this entire movie and decides to trap herself in a closet. Michael quickly finds out about this and begins to stab his way in with his knife, but then Laurie gets a hanger and turns it into a stabbing weapon, which she uses to escape from Michael. Not only did Laurie invent the stupid horror movie character trend, but she also invented the resourceful horror movie character trend. Jeez, 2 trends in 1 movie. Finally, Laurie tells the kid she's been babysitting to go outside and call the police. Like, really, what's been taking her so long? And then the credits roll. No, I'm just kidding. Michael wakes back up for like the 20th time, as if he has the Infinity Gauntlet, for God's sakes.
I am inevitable.
Luckily, our pal Dr. Samuel Loomis is able to take notice and shoots down Michael before he can do any more damage. Then Michael falls off the ledge of the house and onto the grass below. But as we see, he then later disappears, which sets up Halloween 2. No, I'm just kidding. But there is a Halloween 2, if any of you guys actually care. But Halloween would not just spawn 2 films, but an entire franchise of about 12. The film would be an absolute phenomenon and would gross $47 million, but other sources said it grossed over $70 million. Although there is something extra kind of weird I realized in the film's ending credits. Michael at age 23 is credited as Tony Moran, but the Shape, which is a nickname for Michael at 23, is played by Nick Castle. Now this is extra weird because Michael is also referred to as the Shape in the film's original soundtrack. Although he is also referred to as the Boogeyman in the film itself, although there is no one credited for the Boogeyman role in the film's end credits. So, oh well. But now we have to get down to the question of, is Halloween actually scary? Now, the film is a masterclass of suspense, reflecting some of Hitchcock's early works, and I am a little embarrassed to admit this, but during the film, I was actually about to pee my pants, but thankfully, that did not happen. Although, despite all this, the film really actually isn't that scary by today's standards, besides the film's opening kill of Michael's sister, Judith. Now, I know I just sound like an aggravated mom seeing if this film is okay for kids to watch, but I promise you, that is not the reason that I made this video. Alright, so with this film and Stephen King's It out of the way, next time I'll probably force myself to watch some dumb movie like Child's Play. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Comment down below if you'd like to see more stuff like this, and I'll catch you in the next one.